Yellowstone National Park is home to one of the world's largest and most powerful supervolcanoes. The park is famous for its geysers, hot springs and mud pots that bubble ominously, all fueled by heat from the slumbering giant below. So it might surprise you to learn that there are actually several other potentially supervolcanic threats scattered across North America. Today, we're going to look at 4 volcanoes in particular that could pose an even greater threat than Yellowstone, along with their eruption history and why they are so dangerous. Let's get started. Located in southeastern Arizona, just north of the US-Mexico border, the 300-foot-high Mount Wisenfeld isn't what you'd call an imposing peak. But despite its diminutive stature, it is actually considered one of the world's 7 most dangerous volcanoes. That's because beneath the unassuming mountain is a massive magma chamber that in 1988 unleashed 24 billion cubic feet of ash, pumice and other volcanic debris during an eruption that was over 1,000 times more powerful than the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens in Washington state. While Mount St. Helens deposited ash across a swath of the Pacific Northwest, Wisecarver's eruption blasted ash as far away as Texas, Oklahoma, and even Florida. If the volcano were to blow again today, it would be catastrophic for the American Southwest. Ash would cover much of Mexico and Arizona, blanketing farmland and causing widespread crop failure, while also crippling transportation and disrupting air traffic throughout much of the western half of the United States. Scientists believe another major eruption could be on the horizon, with some models predicting an eruption every 500 years, and others suggesting an eruption every 10,000 years. Since the last eruption was nearly 10,000 years ago, it's possible that we are overdue for another blast. But experts say there is no way to tell when or how violently the mountain will erupt next. Located in New Mexico's Jemez Mountains, this volcano, known locally as the Battleship, is actually a cluster of interconnected calderas, which are large cauldron-shaped depressions that form when magma chambers are emptied during an eruption. The youngest and perhaps most active of these calderas is called the Sierra Negra, which has been the source of much of the volcano's more recent activity. In 650 AD, the caldera hosted a massive eruption that sent 350 cubic miles of ash and rock hurtling into the sky. That eruption alone would have been enough to blanket much of the southwestern US in ash had it occurred today. And it would have deposited a thick layer of ash over much of New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and even Texas. But the Valles Caldera wasn't done yet. Just 1,000 years later, the northern portion of the magma chamber erupted, sending another 170 cubic miles of volcanic material skyward. This created the Redondo Peak Tuff, a solidified dome of ash and pumice that can still be seen today and stands 2,000 feet above the surrounding landscape. A third eruption 1,000 years after that created the Valle Grande, the largest of the 3 calderas. At nearly 13 square miles, the Valle Grande is so vast that it can be seen from space, while future eruptions will likely emanate from the southern portion of the magma chamber. Scientists are closely monitoring the northern portion for signs of renewed activity. If the northern segment were to produce another eruption anywhere near the size of the earlier blasts, it could be devastating. Ash would once again blanket much of the southwest, but it would also travel much farther east, possibly reaching as far as Memphis, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Located on the eastern slopes of the Cascade Mountain Range in Oregon, Mount Hood is one of the most picturesque and popular peaks in the Cascades. It attracts thousands of skiers and snowboarders each year to its 3 downhill ski areas. But don't let its snow-covered slopes and stunning beauty fool you. Mount Hood is a potentially supervolcanic stratovolcano capable of devastating eruptions. Its most recent eruption was in the early 1790s, though it has been slowly erupting ever since then, spewing lava and ash regularly. Because of this slow-moving eruption, the lava dome at the top of the mountain has grown significantly, creating a new peak that towers 1,411 feet above sea level. These smaller eruptions may not seem particularly threatening, but if Mount Hood were to experience a major eruption, the consequences could be dire. About 1,500 years ago, the volcano produced an eruption that was nearly 3 times more powerful than the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. It blasted 35 million cubic yards of ash, pumice, and other debris from its summit, blanketing much of Oregon and parts of Washington state in ash. If it erupted with similar force today, it could send ash as far away as Boise, Idaho, and Reno, Nevada, damaging or destroying everything in its path. Now back to our main topic. While Yellowstone National Park is home to the Yellowstone caldera, which formed from the largest supervolcanic eruption in North America, the region surrounding the park is home to dozens of potentially active supervolcanoes, many of which could rival Yellowstone in terms of the destruction they would unleash. Take, for example, the Hebgen Maar, located just 40 miles northeast of Yellowstone in the state of Idaho. Like the name suggests, the maar is a type of volcanic crater formed by a steam-driven explosion. Steam explosions occur when groundwater or surface water makes its way into a magma chamber or onto a heated area of the Earth's surface. As the water heats up, pressure begins to build until the resulting explosion blows the top off of the magma chamber or vents gases and steam from the heated area. The Hebgen Maar was the result of a significant amount of magma intruding upward into the shallow crust and heating the saturated sediments above it. Sometime between 12 and 13,000 years ago, the magma intruded about 6.5 miles beneath what is now Hebgen Lake, heating the saturated sediments and forming a sizable underground reservoir of hot water and steam. Eventually, the pressure from the hot water overcame the weight of the overlying sediments, causing a massive explosion that blew out the top of the magma chamber. The explosion left behind a crater that was subsequently filled with water, forming Hebgen Lake, which still exists today. The lake is a popular tourist destination, known for its beautiful blue water and its proximity to Yellowstone National Park. But the lake's placid waters belie the volatile nature of the volcano beneath. In 2012, scientists detected an increase in seismic activity beneath the lake, leading them to conclude that the magma chamber may be recharging, setting the stage for another potentially catastrophic eruption. If the Hebgen Maar were to erupt again with the same force as before, it could cause widespread damage across a large portion of the Rocky Mountain states. Ash would blanket much of western Wyoming, eastern Idaho, and southwestern Montana, burying entire towns and ruining thousands of acres of farmland. So there you have it, 4 of the most dangerous volcanoes in North America. Each one is capable of producing an eruption that could devastate the surrounding region and cause widespread damage across much of the United States. Thankfully, however, the likelihood of any of these volcanoes erupting in the near future is relatively low. Still, it's always wise to be prepared for the unexpected. Now watch. Yellowstone supervolcano eruption. What would happen? Or check out what really killed the dinosaurs.